here, we're going to do a time management for healer POV, and we'll take Astro in for this type of guide. The reason for Astro is asking chat and everything. Astro is probably the weaker of the four. Maybe not as significant as, say, Palace of the Dead, or it's kind of bad in Palace of the Dead, but it's still kind of probably ranked a little bit lower with its damage. And thus, I want to take the weaker job in for the time management, because if we're able to do the time management really well in this class, and you're taking in a stronger class, then hopefully you'll feel better about yourself. And it's like, oh, well, I mean, if Astro can do it, I mean, I should be able to do it. So that'll be the whole concept. And a lot of the strategies, in essence, are not going to be that much different from healer to healer to healer. You just have more damage and you go through more time. But essentially, the strategies that we'll try to employ on this run will hopefully be useful to you guys as you try to get through on your own attempts. Now, we'll be taking a checkpoint here, 71 plus checkpoint for the 71 to 80 time management. And the reason why I'm taking the checkpoint is that it's kind of an exaggerated example of how we're going to try to manage our time. Presumably, if you're going for the solo title, then you should have a decent amount of palms. And even if you don't have a decent amount of palms, hopefully this kind of gives you the confidence to see what this job is capable of when you don't have any starting palms. And another suggestion is to actually do a checkpoint run for yourself if you have an open save file, and just see how you do. I mean, even if you fail, it's probably still a good learning lesson to kind of manage your pomanders as you do that climb to give you the most out of it. And I would say for this type of run, we are going to be a little more aggressive with the pomander usages than maybe other roles, because we want to just kind of stay ahead on time. And it's kind of the nature of how healers will go, because you are going to be killing slower, but there are still ways to maintain your speed and to go at a decent pace. And the last bit before we get started is that I will purposely try to manage single pulling throughout this floor set. A benefit to healer is being able to multi-pull. I would like to say all healers should have more damage if you have at least 2 targets, but we will actually try to maintain a single pull mentality here to kind of showcase to you that, one, you don't have to multi-pull, but two, to kind of give more of an example of what it is to kind of manage that time when you're kind of keeping your damage to a lower level. And just as like kind of like a little bit of a spoiler on the run, it definitely has to do a lot with your movement and kind of map navigation and kind of decision making when it comes to how you use the palms and everything. So it's a little bit more precise to make the most out of your time. So let's hop on in. 71 checkpoint here on Astro. Let's do it. Food up if you have it. Probably a good idea. Just use your raid food if you have it, so we'll food up. Alright, so here we definitely want to check as many rooms and as many chests as we can. Mimics are just whatever. You get a mimic, who cares? You're just gonna have to deal with it. Another thing that you want to definitely do is a lot of motion and movement while you're fighting stuff. That's going to be the biggest benefit. Slide casting is going to be tremendously important on this one for every caster that you have, because it allows you movement while also navigating the floors and doing damage. Astro in particular can definitely get used for its light speed, because you can move and do damage while also getting that navigation. Here's silver chests. Silver chests are either going to give you an incense or they're going to explode, at least this high end. So we're going to try to definitely take advantage of the possibility of getting a quick kill. Getting that bark bomb is huge, because that is what we're going to use for the boss. Astro will clock the 80 boss with strength, steel, and steel's not important, with strength and a bark bomb at around 5.5 to 6 minutes. So having the bark bomb is good. We were kind of guesstimating with chat that if you don't have any palms and you don't have a bark bomb, you're probably looking at maybe a 14 and 15 minute fight on Astro without anything at all. So his strength probably puts you at about maybe like 11, 12. So having the bark bomb certainly will speed you up almost by twice the amount. Here we're going to maintain just keeping the pulls going. What I actually will try to do here, something you may observe, is I kind of like to recommend people not check gold chests in the middle of combat. But it might not be a terrible idea on healer, because if you get a mimic, it's not that bad. The pox sucks, but you can also kind of just deal with it, because they're not going to do crazy AoEs and crazy amounts of damage beyond what you're capable of healing. And running with 2 enemies is... hopefully you'll be able to manage at least 2. You can still single target them and just drag the mimic with you. But that would be something where I don't think it's that bad of a deal to open chests mid-combat. So I do want to continue trying to figure out where I want to go. Haven't found the exit yet. Actually, let me double check if we have votive here. We do not have a votive. So my only goal right now is to hopefully locate the exit while we're still killing. So while we're moving around with enemies like we are right now, I will try to navigate all at the same time until we do open the exit. When we open the exit, then we kind of want to isolate towards the exit after that. But we haven't found it yet, so I'm going to pop this chest after that. Got another bark bomb, which is a fantastic start. And there is the exit right over there. So, because we're only a handful of kills in, I might try to make myself navigate towards the room that I haven't checked to see if I can get that... See if I can get the other one. Now, we have another enemy here. Since we're trying to single pull, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sleep this thing. I'm going to call it sleep tech. It's something I like to do with healers and casters, is we're going to sleep that thing. As long as we get about 2 rooms away, we can de-aggro that enemy. Now, if you're kind of a confident healer and whatnot, you probably can take that thing out, no problem. But just for the sake of demonstration, we're going to try to do that sleep tech so we only manage to fight one thing at a time. I gotta get at least 2 rooms away, and it is now de-aggroed, so we are good to go. And again, I could even single target by having both of them, but that was just a demonstration of techniques that we use for the content. Here, I'm continuing to kind of navigate my way through here as we see what is in this possible room. So we're doing 2 birds with 1 stone by being able to afford ourselves as many power-ups as possible while also killing on the run. That is fine. We're just going to watch the AoE, and that is my next target anyway. That is the silver chest, and the scissor jaw has just moved into it. So I'm going to kind of chill a little bit. Going to fight this for now, and when that scissor jaw moves, I'm going to go for that silver chest. And again, we're going to kind of see if we can get a quick kill on the silver chest if it explodes. Now, that scissor jaw over there, and possibly the crocodile, the unbelief, might be close enough for the explosion. So I'm actually already going to kind of have in my head, okay, if it explodes and it splashes onto those enemies, then I'm going to try to pull right away. So you kind of want to set up a heal, possibly, if it applies, so that you can get that quick kill before they regenerate. So I'm going to move into place now. I'm just going to make sure my HP is going to be okay here. Gonna heal extra here, pop it. Okay, 3 bark bombs, let's go. So in this case, because we are capped on incenses, I may start to recommend the idea of trying to burn one on one of the floors coming up. Because you definitely don't want to overcap on your incenses. Although 71 doesn't have an extraordinarily high amount of juniper incenses like 81 or 91, where theirs are like a kind of really high, statistically speaking. However, it definitely is good practice to keep, especially incenses at 2 in particular, because again, if you like fought the whole floor and you pick up a poison fruit or you pick up a maze root when you've already opened the exit, you kind of wasted the power up. So probably what's going to happen is on the next floor, I'm probably already going to use one just to keep it at 2, just to keep the time kind of flowing, because we want to stay ahead on time as opposed to be behind on time. Okay. So I can't move through this room at the moment because I'm going to aggro something. So I'm just going to continue fighting this at the moment. And I got to drop my star anyway because I get the damage. Star is ready. Now, I could sleep tech this pudding if it aggroes, but I think I'm going to be far away from it. So, the entire set, cluttered. I'll be more clear about that. It is the entire set that does have a higher chance of incenses. So 81 to 98. Yeah. That's a really good question, by the way, just because someone may take that kind of more literally, and that's completely fair. So, but yes, 81 plus all the way to the end will just have higher rates. Alright, so one other kind of small detail that I do want to focus here on, actually there's another silver chest over there, which I will get to right away, is that if you're feeling like you're close to opening the exit, you kind of want to either A, make sure the exit is clear, and B, kind of have something that is left over here. Because if I need 2 kills, then I'm glad the 2 kills are here, because if there's no more enemies over here, then I have to backtrack for another pull. And especially when we're killing and moving at the same time, it won't be a terrible idea to kind of plan out those kills if needed. We have a maze route, so I'm gonna take and use the bark bomb already. 4 on the first floor is very lucky, and not very common, but we'll take it and take advantage of that. So now we get the extra damage from the Maze Root, which is fantastic, so our kill speed is going to be higher. And we only need it for the 1 kill, no big deal. Going to the next horde. So here, now that we have 3, I'm definitely going to want to keep a Bark Bomb for the boss, so we don't touch 1 Bark Bomb. But I think in this instance, I'm going to kind of burn off the Maze Root right now, just so we can kind of get off this floor quickly. But we do want to examine everything on the floor. Maze Root is going to reveal the entire floor, and also reveal all the traps here. But things are still in our way, so we have to watch out for that, because we could still aggro something and have to fight them, which might be that dog over there. But luckily with Maze Root, it can witching things, and it's not a big deal. Well, except when I double aggro, but that's okay. How do you know when you feel like the exit is close to opening? So, kill count. General kill count, which I did not actually really count my kills earlier. General kill count is kind of one that you can track. You're going to get out of this floor set between 4 and about 9 or 10 kills. 9 is definitely the upper limit. You won't see 9 very often, but it's possible. And I can't even remember if that is actually the max. Anyway, 4 is going to be the minimum. So if you're kind of getting around average of like 5 to 7, then you're going to try to hope that you're getting close. Using the key as a marker to see what color it is not going to help you, because it's usually kind of just a suggestion, but it doesn't really help you in terms of actually telling you how much time you have, how many kills you have left. But when you go with the average kill count, that can give you at least a justification. So like if you're at about 5 kills and you've left 2 kills on the exit, high chances are that you're gonna probably get out with those kills. Then you could also just double make sure pull something else just in case, and then drag it with you, and then leave those multiple kills in the exit to just ensure that you probably get out. Because it really does suck to have to backtrack after you've like cleared up the exit and there's no enemy like 2 rooms away. That really does suck. But that's where like in part of the healer bit is a little bit more important than say a DPS, where DPS is like, alright, whatever, I'll just kill on the way. But healer, your kills are pretty premium. You want to make them all count, and you don't want to waste a step, and you don't want to waste an extra kill, if you will, because it's going to take you a while to kill something. Okay, so here, I'm going to be a little aggressive again and keep the affluence at 0 at the moment. If you're running with palms, then keeping it at about 2 or making it uncapped is not a terrible idea, because you could possibly get chests back. Really would like a strength and a steel to overcap those if needed, but we're just moving along, and our time is actually really good because of that beginning part. 10 minutes in to the first 3 floors. Okay, so no knockback, no big deal. Gonna pull this bomb, and once again, we're gonna go through and drag it with me. That is a tough chest to get to. I want to get that chest, but I'm gonna have to chill a little bit. Either something will move, or I pull one of those things. This star was a little slicey, but hopefully I can detonate it a little bit soon before anything gets a little crazy here. Which I think... Okay, I just detonated a little bit early, I believe. Waiting for these guys to move. So one of them did move. We'll also demonstrate some really nice tech that I am stealing from our good buddy Mr. Willowgreen. If you are familiar with these bombs do have a self-destruct when you kill them. But special to a healer, because you can't stun these, is if you sleep these guys before they go off and let the DOT kill them, they do not self-destruct, because they're unable to cast in that motion, and they will then just pass, which is kind of nice. It's a little specific, you can just run away from it, but that's not a bad tech to have for specific situations. Taking that chest... This one is unfortunate. This is a little bit of an annoying pull, because you can't really drag them away too much unless you're going to utilize walls. So we're just going to have to commit to this pull, which is fine. I'm going to need a couple kills anyway, but I can't do the movement that we were doing as much, especially when they start casting. I'm going to keep him within the star at the moment. Get the star out. Right, so watching his cast just in case he starts doing the shrinking or the growing. Affluence again, which is good. It's another chest in here, which is the product of the affluence. We're going away for growing. Gonna check the chest in mid-combat here. We got an alteration. I'll think about the alteration. Something I'll worry about later. Bomb, and that's a straightaway. So we're gonna try to get through here. I'm gonna light speed just to see if I can get through without the aggro. A lot of spites going here. So now I've now recognized where the exit is, right? So my goal right now is I want to check the other chests as best as we can to try to get as many pomanders as possible. Again, not really concerned about mimics. Mimics or whatever, they're just gonna happen. So don't fear mimics, especially in PT, in my opinion. It is what it is if you get them. Steals. Okay. So now, what I actually want to do here is looking at the key, right? We're about, I would say, what, 3 kills in? 3 kills? 2 kills. 2 kills in. So we're at the low count of the kill count. So what I want to do is I want to hang around this area. And I'm probably going to pull another scissor jaw with me and then drag that one back to the exit, considering I'll probably need maybe 3 or 4 more kills potentially. And get closer to the exit, so if it opens, I can just go into it. I may try to burn another affluence to see if we can maybe get something else going. Time right now is, I would say, pretty good. About I would say above average with this current run. And again, I'm stressing the fact that we are single pulling. We're not doing multi-pulls here. We didn't even utilize a landmine, which is a common strat that healers are definitely suggested to do, because they are definitely more than capable of pulling it off. But I'm not doing anything fancy here. Again, this is more of a demonstration of keeping it simple and just come down to movement and pomander usage. So I'm going to drag this one back with me. Gonna get it close to the exit. We have a couple spikes and a diplomat cream that we can utilize as kills. I believe the exit had 2 more or 1 more kill, I believe, or 2. So we have about 4 kills that we can count for leading into the possible entry. And again, this kind of planning is like how my mind works with this type of like thought process. It's more because I'm not really worried about too much as a healer, because what am I hitting right now? Occasional heals and my 1 and 2, DOT and my GCD. So a lot of my thinking is now being distributed to just how to navigate the floor set. Whereas if you're running a DPS, you have a lot of rotations to go for. Your 2 minute, your 1 minute, this button, that button, but you're also killing very fast. So it's okay to focus on your rotation. As a healer, as a DPS, but as a healer, you don't have much of a rotation to work with. So I'm spending that brain power to think about, where am I going? What am I planning? What's my next move? And that's something you definitely wanted to use as your advantage, because things aren't gonna like surprise you with like big auto attack damage unless you're fighting very specific enemies. So you can spend that time thinking about, what's my plan? So the exit, by the way, is free here, unless the spike moves into it. So if I were to choose another pull, I would probably want to go for the spite. Oh, I kind of made that a little bit close. It's okay. I want to probably go for the spite only because it's the most dangerous thing that could get close to the exit. Did not pull it with that. That's good. And I hear it moving, but I don't see where it's moving at the moment. And it is moving away from that. But oh, right. You're self-destructing. I forgot. Okay. Didn't do the Willow tech. It's okay. And we need another kill, so we'll do the spite. So now, my priority here is just to make sure the exit is nice and free, so when we go for it, nothing is going to go in my way. Not worry about respawns, since the respawns are about 10 minutes. So, if I empty this room, everything's gone. Unless we're here for 10 minutes, of course. I will use that affluence, but I will use nothing else. Right now, based on our pomander inventory, I want to sit at 2 incenses and not use another. As mentioned, that we're keeping one of the bark bomb for the boss, so we have one other one to possibly utilize. A flight can definitely be used, and I definitely would recommend flights to be used off more than really anything else. Like if you have devotions, I wouldn't really use the devotion here unless you're really kind of desperate for time. Get rid of your flights first and foremost, and then see how the time looks. This might get me out of here, but I may need another kill here, but that's okay. Yep, we're out. Okay, good. So I will affluence again to get more power-ups, and we're stepping into 74 with 43 minutes remaining. Which is pretty good. About 6, 10, 16 minutes divided by 3, about 5.5 minutes per floor set. That's pretty fast for a healer. So now we have a mace room, and we did affluence. So here again, I want to keep this at 2, so I'm going to use the mace room again just to keep the time flowing. and especially to prevent a possible overcap. Now, one little theory that I will give you guys that I definitely believe a little bit with Deep Dungeon, and it's a theory, it's not something that I have any proof for. Sometimes in the other Deep Dungeons, and probably PT applies as well, you get a little, certain pomanders become a little more weighted than others. Like you just like, oh man, I'm just getting a lot of incenses this run. I'm getting a lot of raisings this run. And there are times when I will actually play to that. Then I'm like, okay, well, this one seems to just give me a lot of strengths. So let's just be a little extra aggressive with said strength. And sometimes when I start recognizing that's a thing, I will play to that. So in this instance, we seem to be getting a lot of incenses. So now it's like I feel almost obligated to make sure that I use them. Because if the game or this floor set is giving me a lot of them, not in that case, if they're going to give me a lot of them, then we better make the most use of it. Something to consider. Again, not really something that I have any hard proof on that is actually a thing. But I sometimes dictate how I utilize my palms based on that. And it's kind of the reverse as well. If it feels like I'm getting less of a raising or less of a devotion, I'd probably be a little bit more picky in how I use them. Because it just feels like the run isn't going to quite give me as much as I'd like to see. So you kind of play to that as well. Actually go this way. This is sound, so that's why I'm walking through that one. I do, again, want to get to the chest. So even though this feels like it's a little slower, it's okay because it's like, what if you were killing this normally, right? Get this chest and then head to the exit. And especially because we did affluence, so I wouldn't want to skip out on these chests that we're getting. Devotion is something, as mentioned, I want to try to avoid using on this floor set because it is a very strong pomander. It guarantees you a transformation, whether it's bomb or the mud ball. But you would want to empty out your flights first versus that kind of one-shot mechanic. Here's kind of a logic we utilize in, let's say, Heaven on High, which is something that I definitely like to kind of go over and explain. If you were to pick an area to do a flight between 71 and 100, well, in Heaven on High specifically, the enemies do scale up to a more difficult level. Like, they get stronger and stronger, they hit you harder and harder. So if a flight is meant to cut the enemies that you need in half to the amount of kills that you need, so if you need 4 kills, now you need 2, if you need 9 kills, now you need 4 or 5, well, you want to do it on the lower set of levels because those enemies are actually going to be easier than presumably the things on the higher levels. So if you had to go through a 71 to 100 section and you only had 3 flights, where would you use them? Well, you'd use them on the easier enemies to get them more time. And then that means you're doing it in exchange of, say, your devotion or an incense, where you would use them on the higher floors where they do more damage and have a little bit more worth. So eliminating your flights here on 71 kind of justifies that you're getting rid of kind of the easier set of enemies and then using your more hard-hitting palms later on into the harder floors where the enemies are maybe a little bit more trickier or a little bit more difficult. Of course, with PT, the way it's positioned, the enemies are not really that much more deadlier than, let's say, the ones here. But circumstances could be a little bit trickier. Like 81 plus, you have to deal with more of the proximity patrol enemies. 91, maybe you're getting a little stressed out about 100. So that's a fair thing. You know, you just fly through those with any of your one-shot commanders, as opposed to having to force yourself to fight something, especially if you're not quite used to what the enemies are doing. Here we are 39 minutes and 75. One little strategy that I like to do with time. It is totally fine to kind of cut the floors into 10 parts. You know, that's 6 minutes per floor. You can kind of sector off the times like that. But for me, I like to keep it very simple. If I step into the 6th floor, I do one time check. Am I over or am I under 30 minutes? If I am over 30 minutes, like I step into the 6th floor and we have like 32 minutes, then I'm at a really good pace. I can kind of maintain what I'm doing and kind of a wait and see. Maybe I get slowed down a little bit, maybe I speed up a little bit. I don't have to go a little bit aggressive. But if I step into 76 with like under 30, like let's say 26 or like 24 minutes, that should tell you to be a little bit in danger because you gotta go a little faster because the pacing that you have now may not be enough to reach the boss with an ample amount of time. So that should tell you in your brain, I gotta use something. I don't know what that something is, but we gotta use something. So that's what we're gonna be looking for going into 76. And based on our time, we're looking okay, but time could catch up with us. We are now 38 minutes into this floor. We do have a damage down, and we haven't... Oh, we do have a strength now, but I'm gonna probably hold on to that strength a little bit. I may actually pop the steel just to keep it at 2, just so we can have to worry about healing a little bit less. But I won't do it in the mid-combat until he uses that. Now we use it. I do want this chest over here, and what I'm doing right now, as we're doing our GCDs, again, simple damage, right? We're not hitting a combo, we're not hitting a rotation. I'm just kind of doing one button. So what I want to do is I'm going to watch this room, and I want to see where those enemies are moving. Because once I get an opening, then I will go and get that chest. But right now, they're actually all facing towards the left side, so I could kind of squeeze into there for a little bit, but I'm going to handle this guy first, as he's doing his hail of heals. And we're going to continue watching this room to see if there's any movement whatsoever. It's possible the enemies are stuck, which they kind of look like they are stuck, so I'm going to sneak into this chest right now. They just moved, and we're going to get out of here. Good. Now, I do want to check the room to the south, and we're going to have to probably pull the Dissension. Watching either of his attacks, either Trounce or Mighty Spin, and I will get into that room. Okay, so now after he uses this move, I will now take this advantage to move and check the room while in combat here. Avoiding the spite, hopefully. I'm going to see if there's a chest in here, and if not, then we start moving to the east side, because now... Okay, so there's nothing here, so this is perfect. So now this is a perfect demonstration, right? I'm going to start moving to go towards the area that I need to, so I can start farming kills in that direction. Trounce is coming out. A little bad positioning here, but it's okay. Alright. Dropping the star there. Maintaining our movement through here. Keeping an eye on him, so he doesn't do another attack, because this is kind of a tight area here. Mighty Spin. I gotta get out of here. A little slow. I was caught, like, right on top of him. Alright, so we have 2 sound aggro enemies over here. I probably pull one of them on my way towards that other area where the exit clearly is going to be. Gonna check to see... Oh, well, guess we took him with us, so it's fine. Okay, he is still not orange yet. So we continue to kill. I'm gonna walk through here so I don't take the other worm. Okay. And 3 enemies in this room and a chest I can see through the text right now. And it's the exit. Okay. Gonna drop the star, do some damage here. Watch the earthquake. I'm gonna chill here because I'd have to walk through the worm to be able to get past it. It does seem like the enemies are once again kind of not moving. I do want to check the room to the south to see what that Kasabi is. Now, keep an eye. Like, just to look at our current pomanders, right? We started with nothing, and these are what our pomanders look in this run. We're starting with nothing. So, if you're, again, someone coming in from your solo run, you've already gone 1 to 70, and now you're into this set looking for some help on time. There's a lot of pomanders that you probably have been using just because they overcap, which is just kind of a nice feeling, right? So that's kind of the demonstration we're trying to showing here with the checkpoint about what we can utilize and how the palms go, and kind of hopefully give you confidence on the run, whether you're feeling a little intimidated by possible time issues. Now here, I'm going to pop that strength because it's an extra one. Keeping the strength at 1, leaving that 1 strength for the boss. If you're someone coming from your previous run, I definitely wouldn't push strength to 1, but pushing it to 2 is certainly a thing. And if you had come in here with 3, then you've already had 2 strengths in motion already because you picked up 2 during this run. Strength is certainly going to help with the damage, obviously, and with time. But again, you're kind of also planning for the future, right? A strength for the boss is not a terrible idea. You don't really need it per se, but I will kind of keep it around just in case. You don't know what's going to happen the next 5 floors. May have to speed up just a little bit, but we do have that bark bomb sitting, and waiting for us to use. It'll be very interesting if I actually don't see another silver chest for the rest of this run, because that means everything was front-loaded. Gonna take the Ascension. Again, watching both of his moves, either Mighty Spin or Trounce. And did you see that Dino move? Right as I pulled this thing? Sometimes enemies get stuck with each other because their hitboxes are so big. In this case, they were actually stuck. So by dislodging this enemy from the Dino, now the Dino has a freedom of movement, and will now start moving around the room. Sometimes that's a thing. And with these particular enemies having big hitboxes, that could be something that you can observe. And that's why also it's so useful as you're doing damage like I am now, that you're just observing. Like, I'm watching that dragon this entire fight, so I can see where his motion was, when his last movement was. So if I need to zoom to this exit, I can make an educated guess if I can get in here without being caught by aggro. Which doesn't matter because we have to fight it, but it's still good, useful information. And when you watch a room, especially for the duration it takes for Astra to kill something, if they're not moving for like 2 minutes, then they're not moving at all. And if they're all facing one direction, you can kind of sneak around them, right? You don't have to pull it and dislodge them. You can kind of just get behind them because they're not going to be a threat. Those are like the little bits of like intel that you can pick up. And these are, again, things that I would say are more important for a healer and a tank than a DPS. DPS is more going to be like, keep killing till the exit opens, hope you find it, okay, GG, keep going, you know? Like, it's a little bit more like straightforward. But you need to try to pull every resource you have, especially as a healer, instead of it just being as simple as what a DPS would give. Because it isn't just kill, 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 hit the exit. Like, there's a lot more detail that you need to have to get the most time out of it. And this is kind of the secret knowledge that a lot of the veteran runners have as to why they become time efficient with jobs like this, right? And again, one more time I'll stress, we are single pulling, we are not multi-pulling, and our time looks pretty a-okay right now. The monster's now free to move around the cabin. Yeah, yeah. We got into the nice steady flight pattern. 0 skill, all luck, says Mr. Ross. Well, we'll leave that to the viewer to decide, huh? I did get front-loaded with like 5 incenses in the beginning of the floorset, that is fair, but like I said, we haven't seen one since. Now, I do, like, I would say on a typical healer run, though, I would say it's probably a good practice to get used to double pulling, at the very least double pulling. Because, I mean, you're gonna go two times faster. That's it. That's just straight up math, right? If you can get comfortable pulling 2 things at once, you will be going at a really good speed. But if you're just someone that it's just not comfy, and you're like, man, I don't know, like, I'm not sure about... Hold on. I'm going to use an alteration here just to help with time, potentially. If you're not sure about those double pulls, and you're just like, you want to play like a safety gamer, it's possible. We're not saying it's bad. It's possible, and we're showing you right now that it is possible. On Astro. Alright, the birds. And we have Mortification, which is going to help with damage, which is nice. And with the Strength on, which is also double nice. I could re-up the steel here. The birds are going to be interesting because we don't want to be running around dragging the birds with us, only because if they're at a combat AoE. So I want to take care of one bird, and then we'll kind of chill and then deal with the other one. Not to mention there is a votive here. I'm going to pull back just in case, because I did not actually focus target that bird, so I don't want to get caught and slip by accident. Jorgen says, I always make it a habit to check silvers up here, because incense is a larger time gain than the time lost getting it. I agree with this, yeah. Making the effort to go find a silver chest, I mean, especially because the likelihood of them, they're either going to explode, or they're going to give you an incense. Even if with the explosion, especially for healer, taking advantage of that free kill is definitely really nice to save you on time. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, it makes your boss time go twice as fast. It could get off the floor very quickly. The maze suits we've used on this floor set twice already. Boom, right to the exit. That's a big time save, especially when you're trying to get through the floor set. And these are the little things that you have to utilize to get the most out of your run. That dino might aggro, and he is dangerously close to being aggro. And he is going to have to aggro. Okay, that's fine. That's okay. How do you focus target? So for me, I have it bound to Control F. I think I bound that manually. But there is a key bind to do that. So when you do that, it puts it on the screen, right? So now I have the focus target like that. But I have a key bound is different. I don't know what the default button is. It might just be F for the default. But I have it on, what I say, Shift. No, Shift F is for me. But it certainly helps when, like, you're going out of range for target, especially the the contention, the birds. Having the focus target when you're not looking at it and seeing what their cast bar is doing is kind of a nice intel to have. Definitely F-base, maybe alt to control. Okay, got it. Thank you, Seaguard. Oh, I didn't get the votive. I'm gonna go back and get the votive. You can right-click on the target, and there's a drop-down for it as well. Yes, if you're a mouse user, that's another way to do it, yes, for sure. I think controller would probably be the same. Like, you get to the target, and then you kind of do a drop-down menu. I think I can do a drop-down here. Let me take a look. Yeah, I could, yeah. If I hit the drop-down, you could do it that way. So the drop-down menu shows up, and then focus target's here. Boom. But I have it on a shortcut, since I don't typically do a drop-down menu. So we have 2 ways to go here. Oh, but we got coins, so this is a time save because these are free kills, and that's the exit over there. So that's great. We're gonna save some time here. Take the silver chest, boom, another bark bomb. So that's really gonna help us in terms of time. So in this instance, since we are really looking good on time, I will take the time to kind of navigate. We might be out in 1 to 2 possible kills here. Also gonna re-up the food just because. Okay, so the bird's gonna be here, so that might be my target because I do want to get to the other room. So we're gonna immediately pull it so that we cannot have to deal with it exploding. Gonna utilize my light speed just to keep our movement here. Watching for the conal attack, but it's not gonna catch up to me with us kind of running away from it. Checking this room, that is a bronze chest. One thing with the bronze chests, they do not get potured 71+. They do not. So if you have a bronze chest, like, all the way at the end of the room, right? All the way over there by the end, it may not be a terrible idea just to let it pass, especially if you have to get through enemies to do it. And especially if you're trying to be, like, very kind of controlling in your time. Might be a thought to just skip it, because you're only going to get a Phoenix down, a Pilgrim's Potion, or an Ultra Potion. Nothing too significant that, in my opinion, is worth kind of making the effort to go over there, unless you're scoring. In this case, that bronze chest was kind of right at the corner, so it's kind of just a couple steps and I'm out. You guys still have about 2 more rooms to double check here, and actually we're out. So I'm gonna eye the rooms really quickly to see if I can maybe get a chest there. If there's any enemies blocking me, I will probably skip it because I don't want to fight my way over there. I want to try to get it if it's nice and free and no issues involved. That room already, I already looked at. You had 2 dinos, one to the left, one facing at me. It's like that could be a little bit of a problem. No chest here, so we're gonna go back to the other way. This chest is the Serenity from when I used it. So going into the next floor, we have Sprint coming in, but I do have 3 incenses here, and I may use 1 to keep it at 2, right? To keep the incenses at 2 so we don't overcap. That chest is in Narnia. I will skip because well, no, I'll skip. We'll just go. I'm not going to take for granted our time on healer, especially because we could just hit a slowdown spot. So now, 77 going in with 25 minutes on the clock. Pretty good on time. Haven't done anything crazy so far with this run at all. Mimics have been a little bit low, though, to be fair. Okay, so we're going to Bark Bomb here for the sake of time. Kind of help us with time, more specifically. Again, I was talking about kind of the weighted pomanders per run. This one seems pretty heavy on the incenses in this floor set, so we're definitely going to try to use them as much as we can, because we may try to overcap. Okay, there is a doggo. I'm going to hit the star early just because I don't want to hit the doggo with the star at the moment. With the sprint, navigation is going to be so much better too. We've already found the exit, so here's a little bit of a navigation kind of trick for you guys. If I've already located the exit, right, I want to definitely check the rooms away from the exit to try to see, like, what's over there. You don't want to, like, so in this instance, I don't want to go all the way east to then go all the way west to see what's over there, because if we have to go back and forth, that's a lot of running, and that's a lot of extra navigation that is a little unnecessary. Now, granted, we have sprints, but it's still like a good practice to have that you're not going to take extra steps when you're running through the map. Unless, of course, you're killing something and you're bringing something with you, which is, again, a healer's specialty. But in this case, it's still not a bad idea to just kind of, you know, go to the direction if your main concern is the exit, to just kind of go away from it first and then collapse into it later once you've navigated everything else. Because essentially, if you've checked all the rooms and you've checked all the chests, then the only thing left is to leave. And then that's when you can focus in on the exit and just kind of go, okay, we'll just kind of clear up the exit and move on. In this case, I'm taking this with me only because we want to kind of maintain the kill count. We're only 2 into the floor. So, granted, our fairy is going to do quite a lot of damage. Priority is on the bird here because of the out-of-combat attack. There's a couple kills, so I'm kind of head counting right now. How many kills am I going to get from here point on? And I might pull the doggo coming here just to maintain, because this will be, what, kill 3. And if we're averaging between 5 and 7 as a good average for kill count, then I definitely want to get within that range. If there's 3 in the other room to the east, and not guessing if there's another room to the east, which I don't know yet, then this is 3, that's 4, and then that's 5, 6, and 7, which would hit the typical average that I am aiming for. So that's why I want this doggo in particular right now. Now, we are at an orange key, but it doesn't really kind of give an indication, per se. If that means I'm 2 kills, 3 kills away, so on and so forth. But the maintaining that kill count is definitely going to be so huge on healer, especially when you're trying to plan out what's my next pull, right? So right now, I've already planned out where my next pull is. It's going to be in this direction over here. Alright, now we're pulling... Actually, there's only 2 here, not 3. So this would be number 5 and 6. I might need another kill, but it's okay. These are both proximity enemies, and actually my priority right now is to get to that chest, because if it's a mimic, then it contributes to the exiting. We want the mimics to contribute to the exit, not before then. It did not. It actually gave me Serenity, which I'll use to we'll go kill faster. Okay. Now I have to kind of slightly worry about the fact that I may need another kill here, but that's okay. There is no other patrol. This is going to be the benefit of having sprint. Oh, we had just the right amount of kills. So that doggo that we took was fantastic and very useful, because if I let that doggo go, I'd have to chase it down. So, kill planning. Use another alteration here to kind of just keep the time kind of flowing here. We are at 20 minutes into this one. Of course, if I pick up an instance here, then we're definitely using it. Actually, what I'm going to do here is more tech for us. That is a treasure room over there, by the way. So now we have a couple things going on here. So I'm going to hope that I can see the exit now. If the exit is not through the treasure room, a lot less pressure. But if the exit route is through the treasure room or in the treasure room, then all of my kills want to prioritize into that room. That is going to be the most important thing. Ah, but we have Korgans, so that's a good thing. So I'm going to take care of these guys first. Also check the chest. Now, I had been saying earlier, right, you want to keep killing and you want to keep moving. Well, in this situation, I want to determine what my direction is going because of that treasure room. We want to respect the treasure room. So, I'm probably going to have to take the dog with me because I'm getting ahead of the dog and I can't quite go over here. And it is through... Okay, the treasure room is probably exit, which is fine. So, we're going to take this dog with me. So now what I actually want to do is I want to drag this thing to the silver chest if I can, because I want to check if the silver chest may explode. Getting a little nice damage boost there to get over to this chest. If it doesn't explode, I actually use the incense in here, so it's kind of a win-win for me right now. It's a poison fruit, which is actually really good. I'm actually going to utilize it. This could be a fantastic situation for you guys to get a really good restock on your chest. Now, because of the long casting time of poison fruit, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to get close to this room over here. I'm going to use it now, and while it's casting, I'm going to check all these chests to see if there's a mimic here. No mimic. I'm going to get the other one. Excellent. That is a really good pickup for time. Because I always joke about how it's going to be really good if I suffer and you guys don't. But in this case, we're not quite suffering. So it is a little streamer luck, but we're making the most of it. Columns are really good. So now I have the extra time to check these chests. 18 minutes. We clocked the boss on 80. with the bark bomb to be about 5.5 minutes, 6 minutes. So that means we have 12 minutes to burn right now. And that's really good to know in terms of knowledge. And we were also saying about, what, 15-ish minutes with no palms into 15. So, I'm sorry, 15 minutes into 80 with no palms. So we're kind of accommodating for that as well in a way that I do have a shank, so it's going to be sped up. I have a bark bomb, so it's sped up. So we're playing to the amount of time we have left over to then manage whatever we have left. So because we're playing to the bark bomb, I'm playing with 12 minutes to spare. I definitely want to get the silver chest, and this is like a really, really good situation to restock. Now, of course, you know, we can't deal with endless mimics. So if I spawn like 5 mimics on this floor because of the gold chest, that's kind of bad, and that's really going to eat up my time. So there's still kind of a bit of a time management that we'll have to handle until we get to the final floor. And what am I doing on the final floor? Well, I might use an alteration just to kind of see if it helps me out. Even if it's a mimics, it's okay. I do have a purity, so it's good. Got another bark bomb, so we could utilize the bark bomb. But I might actually use the bark bomb more a little bit as an emergency. Like, time is getting a little dicey because stepping into 81 with the extra incense helps you speed up on that floor set. And since we've done such a good job maintaining time here, may not be necessary to go as fast now. And this is kind of the benefit that I like to have when you get ahead on time, because it allows you to kind of ease up a little bit. You can kind of chill a little bit, kill a little slower, you know, just kind of like, you know, vibe a little bit on the floor because you're not now pressured on time. But you do want to kind of fight your way through the entire time to give you this luxury. Because the other case scenario is if you are behind on time, now you are panicking to get faster, which means you might use things that you don't want to, but you have to because you understand that you need to go faster. So that's where the benefit is of kind of getting ahead on time. Maze route. I'm not going to take that one because the bark bomb is not going to be bad. Actually, the maze route would kind of be superior, but I'll leave the bark bomb here. The maze route could help me get off the next floor very quickly if I get an extra one. And again, we're playing to this like kind of like theory buff at the moment that we're just getting a lot of incenses, so it would be possible that I probably pick one up on this next floor, but we'll play it by ear. This is a little bit of a nasty floor. We do have full serenity. However, because of our current situation, what I'm going to do is I'm going to steal now. Don't really need it on the boss. It would be useful on the boss, but we won't really need it on the boss. I'm actually going to strength as well. So we're going to use the strength and steel to kind of help us get through this floor in particular, and to help us out as we go through. So now we're gonna do a little dragging around with this doggo. I'm gonna see what the rooms are like as we are killing here. So we're gonna check room number 1. That is nothing, so we don't have to be there. We don't have to kill anything. We don't have to be there. Another doggo is coming in. So I'm gonna go to the wrist room for now. Now, if you don't know, the birds that shoot out of combat are going to start shooting when you kind of get close to them, not any time in between them. So if I kind of go in that range right now there's kind of a possibility they will start doing their thing. So I'm just going to kind of move away from them for now and try to navigate the other room as we go along. Checking this room to see if we can find the exit for now. This is a no knockback room, that's why I'm not getting knocked back by the enemy at the moment. Silver chest is here, which is a good check right now, because if it's a incense, then we're just out of here. I found the exit, so I don't technically have to go to that room already. I'm gonna pull this one, and we're gonna drag him to the silver chest just in case we get a quick kill here. Because again, it's either an incense or it explodes, so we're gonna kind of get a win-win out of this one if you can. Time it. Did do well. There's another maze route, so now we're gonna pop the bark bomb. So we got a lot of incenses on this run. Kind of backs up the theory about how the incenses are coming in for these kind of floor sets. Now we're just gonna kill a lot faster because of the maze route. Because of the bark bomb. Excuse me. So now we do want to kind of navigate and kind of check the rooms as we go along. Since we've already located the exit, what I will actually do here is I'm gonna go to the room to the west, and then I'm going to check on the east if I can. This might aggro, but it's okay. Okay, checking this chest here. I have to pull the slander because it is proximity and it's going to block me from this chest over here. Now runs are gonna vary, right? You'll have really good runs, you'll have really bad runs. It does come down to that decision making, so hopefully the takeaway is more about how we made those decisions and how we kind of ended up in this situation. And look, you're gonna get palms. Like, if you check all the chests, you're going to get stuff. And this loadout that we got almost looks like it's like something you'd walk into this floor set, let alone get out of this floor set. So that's definitely the takeaway that you want to do. We did a lot of silver chest checking. I don't think we missed a single gold chest, so we definitely took advantage of that as much as we can with a pretty decent amount of time left over. Now, time is getting a little tight there with 12 minutes. Like I said, about 6 minutes on the boss, so we don't want to get too close to that. We do want to monitor that situation, but we're still okay on time, and Bark Bomb is going to help us kind of speed along through here. Observing these birds right now. Again, they are at a combat stop, so I'm gonna focus target one and pull the other, so I can see if the other one is gonna start doing its thing. I don't want to navigate past this room until I've eliminated these birds, first and foremost. These will one-shot you if they hit you with the out of combat. They will one-shot a tank for that matter, especially in Gloom. And a nice bit about having the incense is I don't have the Serenity because I'm getting the extra damage from the incenses, and I could hold on to the Serenity. I was actually considering doing a Serenity here just to kind of speed us up, especially if we didn't get any help, but we did get some help, so. And more help. We got a flight. Very good. Now, also, take a note, right? So, it does seem like we got a lot of good pickups. We definitely took advantage of a lot of good power-ups. Time is still kind of tight. You know, like we're not strolling in there with 20 minutes. But for some people, their perspective on time is interesting. You know, we've had people in some of the other deep dungeons be like, man, no, I was really low on time. I got into 160 with 10 minutes left, and it feels so stressful. And a lot of times it's like, no, man, that's normal. You know, that is a normal run. Like I get it, time feels tight, but also that's basically what we all do. So walking into that boss right now with 10 minutes less, probably about 8 minutes, you're using as much time as possibly can. Yeah, I could speed up a little bit more if needed, but trying to get it as close as you can to the 1 hour mark, while keeping your palm usage kind of to a minimal and only to what you needed, is efficient. You know, you're just using the most that you have with your time, and that's something you want to aim for. Essentially, here's another extreme example. If I was on Astro and I walked into the boss with 20 minutes remaining, oh man, it's really good on time. But if I sacrificed a lot to make that happen, we burned all our incenses, we did all our devotions to make that happen, then it's too aggressive. It was completely unnecessary. Getting close to the time limit while keeping your palms kind of steady and not overusing, that's definitely a good goal. Yeah, again, it feels stressful to have less time on the clock, but it's also very normal, especially with these type of runs on these type of floor sets, that you're getting close to that timer, you know? Again, and you're trying to also keep everything compartmentalized. You're dealing with a healer. You're not dealing with a DPS. You're not dealing with a tank. They're going to have different times on the boss, right? A DPS could get here with a speed run with over 30 minutes. You're not a DPS. You're a healer. Now, do I go for this chest is the question. Well, we have time and we have Bark Bomb, so I think I may try to fight for this chest. And these are now the luxury decisions that you have because you have the extra time. Something that, it's good to fight for. You don't want to be stressing, and you don't want to be in a situation where you're running out of time and you have to skip things because you need time. You want to be in the opposite direction where you have all this extra time and you're like, you know what, I'll go for that chest, sure. That's the position you want to put yourself in. That's good time management. Now, even if it's a Mimic, I have time for a Mimic. Wait. Okay, I have to pull the Vanity because the Vanity got a little too close. And it's okay. Again, timing that we're looking for is 6 minutes on the clock for the boss. I may re-steal on the boss, and again, I would recommend a steal if it's more your first time and you're a little uncomfy with the boss, simply because of the fact that taking a hit on the boss could be a one-shot potentially on the healer. Even though you have Bark Bomb, it could still get a little dicey, so doing the steal is not a terrible idea just to play safe, and I will play safe for you guys. If you're a little bit more comfortable, you can do mechanics properly, then all good. Now, this Pox does kind of complicate things a little bit. It will lower my damage by about 10%, but luckily for us, Astro is not the big damage dealer here, the Bark Bomb is. So we're going to let the Bark Bomb do its work, and we're just going to deal with the boss. Now, we're at 8 minutes, right? 8 minutes is a little tight, but we should be fine. They don't need my DPS, but we're definitely gonna monitor the time as we go along onto the boss. Alright, let's go to the boss. I will re-steal now. Boss time. With about 7.5 minutes remaining, we're gonna Bark Bomb immediately and pull immediately. And just do mechanics. Be careful not to hit the wrong one. I've done that before. And in this case, if you pull out the maze route, you're gonna be a lot more stressed than if you're gonna do the Bark Bomb. A little bit of an extra deep dungeon thing, if you don't know. If you have one fairy out, you cannot unsummon the fairy that's already out there. You have to either die or that's it. Like you can't swap them if you've already summoned one. So if I had actually accidentally done the maze route here, our damage will be a lot less and we might be in trouble. So it's something to, you know, human error could be a thing. I'm gonna go through this first rotation here as I was kind of yapping away. Gonna kind of observe the fight as we go through, and then I'll kind of explain it because we will have about 6 minutes to talk about it. And funny enough, I think you saw like most of the mechanics already, which is lucky for us because sometimes they like to be. This cat likes to just use one thing at a time. So we're gonna get into the main mechanic here for the boss. It's gonna be Prowling Death. It's gonna give us one of two debuffs. In this one, it gave Shadow of Death. So here we need to take intentional light damage. If we do not, we are dead. Dej, you're back to 1. It is Roaring Ring, so I'm going to go in. Ring is in, and that light is shooting here. I take that intentional damage from Shadow of Death, and we have satisfied that mechanic. Alright, so now Stalking Static is coming in. There's going to be a starting orb in the middle of the room, and it's going to jut out to the outer side of the room. We want to be away from the outer side. So there's the outer right over there. Here's the inner right over here. I like to go to the 5th orb, which is around this direction, and be kind of opposite of where that other one is. Then I step into the orb to give us a little space to work with, and then now we have the light behind and the big point blank with the layer attack. And now we kind of vibe in a little bit until the next set of mechanics come in. I like to turn him more to the middle, just so we kind of have a little bit of extra spacing to dodge any of the mechanics coming in here. It is Prowling Death coming in once more. Now we are back Shadow of Death, so we're going to be looking for the light and to stand in the light. It is the layer, that is a point blank, and it is over here for the light, so I'm going away. Mechanic satisfied, good. Alright, rinse and repeat. Maintaining our damage, we're at 64%, going in at 5.5 minutes. I think our pacing is pretty good here. Stalking Static, we're looking for the middle. I actually really only pay attention to the middle, because the angle is kind of the same. So middle's over here, I go to the 5th orb, I look at where the other one is, boom. And now we're going to go into the orb, avoid the huge AoE that's coming from the opposite side. Roaring Ring, we are inside and on this half of the quadrant. Good. Rinse and repeat. Too bad you can't card. Fail. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Untargetable. I'm not doing a good job keeping my dots up, but it's okay. Again, the damage is from them, not me. Luckily. Prowling Death. Let's see if we get the other mechanic, please. For the audience, no? Okay, not quite. It's okay, I'll explain it post if I have to. Alright, so we're gonna be in the light and in because it's Ring. Fantastic. We have defied the death. You know, the game does tell you what to do kind of in the middle text. I totally believe it if you don't read that middle text and you're busy kind of hitting your buttons, all understandable. But the game does kind of tell you what the mechanic is. Going for that 5th orb, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Going opposite of the big orb on the opposite end when it fires in. Stepping into the orb after these things are going off. And then Roaring Ring. Going in and on this half of the quadrant. Alright, pray for chat, pray for viewers that we get the other mechanic, otherwise you're just going to have to imagine it, or watch the other videos, of course. We're looking for Nowhere to Run. Nowhere to Run is the name of the mechanic. And we now have it, so Nowhere to Run. If you get to 8 stacks, we are dead. It is movement, so if I move a little bit, I get a stack. See, I have 2 stacks. So now we're going away. Watch the Nowhere to Run. 4, 5, 6. So we do not want to move any more. Otherwise, we're in trouble. And this is where having the steal is not a terrible idea. If for whatever reason you got layer and you're like, bro, I don't know if I can move anymore. Like, I just get hit with one of those things. You can do a little extra healing, get a shield up. It'll be okay. backup strat. That's where the steal might be useful if you're not comfortable with Alpha. 8 stacks. 8 stacks is the magic number. You get to 8, you are dead. Alright, that's a point blank, and that is the back half, so I'm moving away from you. We are now under 30% with 3 minutes remaining. Our time looks good. It's going to be pretty tight, but that's okay. We made use of our time here. Okay, waiting for this mechanic once more. We're at 22% with 2:46 remaining on the clock. Yeah, not concerned. What I like to do, by the way, with time is I like to kind of check per minute, see what our damage is per minute. But again, with the fairy, I was kind of not too worried about that. That is the back half, and that is the front point blank, so we're good here. 60 minutes remaining. Do not move, by the way, after the mechanic. Until the debuff wears off, don't feel like you're safe after you've resolved and dodged the mechanic, because it is still on you, even when the point blank and the half goes away. Looking for the 5th orb once more. Alright, we're here. How can you tell which AoE to look out for? Hold up. When he's about to use the other one of his light attacks. How can you tell which AoE to look out for? I'm looking for the names of the moves, right? So we have the debuff that's coming in with Prowling Death, so it'll be a debuff on the bar. It either gives you nowhere to run, or it gives you Shadow of Death, so it tells you. You also see it in the middle of the screen. Now the other 2 mechanics, you're looking for the light mechanic. So wherever the whiskers are pointing, whether it's back or front, that is where you're going. So in this case, the whiskers are in the back, so I need to go behind, and then layer is going to be the point blank. So you're looking at the cast that's going off to tell you what the mechanic is, if that makes sense. And the boss is defeated with 1 minute and 20 seconds remaining. Look, man, when you talk about time management, I mean, yeah, you feel stressed out that you're running out of time, but look at our palms when we started with nothing, and we got out of here with a lot of good power-ups to step into 81. If you walked into this floor set with full palms, now that is what is additive to your current loadout. Mine is the raising, by the way. We did not see a raising, which is really tragic, but that's what we looked like, and I actually feel confident I could step into 81 with this loadout to try to clear 81. But of course, this is just about 71 to 80 to get you there to the promised land, if you will. So that is you time managing on this end. Yeah, so if it's a confusion of like which is the point blank and which is the donut, I'm looking at the cast name. So the one that is a donut that you have to go in is called Roaring Ring. That'll be the cast bar. It says Roaring Ring. And then if you have to go out where it's a point blank, then that is called Perilous Layer. So I'm looking at the actual cast to tell me which one it is. Sometimes enemies and bosses do have a actual visual tell, like you can see like a different animation of the boss. I'll be honest, never looked at it. So if it does, then I am not aware of it. There is your time management for 71 to 80 on healer with the Astro POV. Hopefully that was good for you guys. Let's go. Nicely done.